Thank you, Chair. Minister, if I can just touch on the elephant in the room. You've got your second reading of the welfare bill due to come before Parliament on Tuesday. Is it still your intention to bring that bill forward for second reading on Tuesday?
It is. I'm looking forward to the debate.
Thank you very much. On to questions for today. So over the last number of years, particularly in recent years, there's been an increase in working age health-related benefits. It's increased quite substantially, whilst working age non-health-related benefits has dropped off. And there's a suggestion, I think you touched on in your answer to the Chair a moment ago, that this is as a result of people claiming because of cost of living pressures, all those things we've seen COVID over the last number of years. I just wondered how that's been factored into your decision making, particularly since the freeze in the standard rate or standard allowance since 2015.
Well, as I was explaining, the fact that the costs of health and disability benefits have risen so sharply, especially over the last 6 years, that's been a big factor in our thinking and driven the need for these changes. And I think part of the problem has been the very low value of the universal credit standard allowance, that as a result of the freezes and things that you referred to, the headline rate of benefit fell to the lowest real terms value, I think, for 40 years. So, you've got to go back to, it was Margaret Thatcher who lifted it above the level that it's been at of late. And the previous government reduced it back down to that very low level. And I think all sorts of problems have arisen from that. And one of them has been a very big incentive for people to claim the LCWRA, the Universal Credit Health Top-Up, because of the huge gulf now between the Universal Credit Standard Allowance and the health top-up rate. So we've announced, as you know, and the bill that you referred to being debated on Tuesday includes I think the first real terms increase in the headline rate of benefit since the 1970s. It is quite a dramatic change of course in public policy that we're saying that the headline rate of benefit was too low. That's partly what's driven these problems that we're talking about this morning. And an important step in fixing this problem is to raise the universal credit standard allowance rate as we are doing. I think another problem arising from the historically low level of the standard allowance rate, and this is a point that was made in evidence to this committee, and Chair, you might remember this, by the think tank Bright Blue, who made the point to us that the headline rate was so low that people have been forced to rush into the first job they can come across, even if it's not the right job. And Bright Blue argues that's contributed to the UK's long-standing productivity problems, because people are being forced into the wrong jobs by the very low rate of the Universal Credit Standard Allowance. So, yeah, fixing that, raising it, is an important part of dealing with the problems that we're focusing on this morning.
I think some colleagues have got some questions later on getting people into the right jobs. Just going back to health, though, particularly mental health over recent years. We've had the pandemic, we've had a lot of upheaval in the country over recent years, and there's been a marked increase in those with mental health problems claiming these types of benefits and support. I just wonder what your view was on that, in terms of, has mental health got worse in the country at that time? Is it an issue of diagnosis? Is it that people are more willing to use mental health now as a reason for claiming this benefit? I just wondered what your views were on that.
Yeah, I think there's fairly clear evidence that there has been a worsening of mental health since the pandemic, particularly amongst young people. That's where the evidence is most striking. And certainly, if you look at what's driving the increase in the PIP caseload that we've talked about, then mental health problems are a large and growing part of the picture. And yet we know, particularly for young people, that the most positive thing that can happen to support good mental health is being able to move into good work. And so that's an important part of the motivation for what we're doing, to make sure that young people do get that chance. We've got the youth guarantee that we announced in the Get Britain Working white paper in November. We want every young person to be learning or earning. So there has been a big rise, particularly in mental health problems amongst young people, and this package is designed in part to deal with that and help people move on from the difficulties that they've got into around the pandemic, and perhaps in particular.